Good morning, guys. Super busy day yesterday. I umpired last night. I didn't get home till about 10:30, and then this morning it was the usual routine walk. I did some errands and stuff, and then I got some work stuff going on this afternoon. So I got a little block of time here before the kids get home and some work stuff. So I wanted to do a video today of my top 10 shooter franchises of all time. Now remember, this is just my own personal preference for shooters, and I have been playing video games for an extremely long time. Yes, I'm very old. So I'm going to give you my take on what the best shooters are and the reasons why I believe that. So we'll get started on this list. At number 10, I'm going to put Titanfall. It was produced by former Call of Duty developers, so they kind of were able to take their gameplay tightness with them. And anyone that plays a lot of first-person shooters and third-person shooters, the gun mechanics vary widely between the franchises, but Call of Duty always had this feel that it always felt good, tight, just overall good mechanics for gunplay. Now, Titanfall sort of had the same mechanical feel to me for the gunplay. What they did is they basically made it more futuristic. They put people in these suits. It enabled wall running and really high jumping. It was a really good mix for me. I liked the mechanics of this game, guys. It was a really fun game. The campaigns weren't great. They were super short. But honestly, I think what Respawn was going for in this franchise was just to make a great first-person shooter, and the campaign was an afterthought. It was more of an introduction to the world. Multiplayer, which is the meat of the game, very fun. Have bots in it too, so it kind of kept you in the action, and I believe this helped new players get introduced to the game without getting pooped on, as they would call it. The Titans were somewhat overpowered. They weren't game-breakingly overpowered. You could take them out. You just had to be smart about it. I mean, they weren't super fast. You could avoid them. But overall, it was just a great shooter with great mechanics. The first one sold about 10 million copies, and then when the second one came out, it honestly had great critical acclaim, but the problem was it released between a huge Battlefield title and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and it just could not keep up with that. I don't know what they were thinking at EA and Respawn releasing this in between those two games. To me, this should have been like a summer release or something when everyone's bored of everything. You know, pop this on the market then. And then you can kind of have the market to yourself. I really think they fumbled this, and it really was a downfall of the franchise. I believe they did have plans to make a third one. I believe it's been canceled a couple times, and the studio is definitely focusing on Apex. For me, Titanfall was basically a stepping stone to the Apex type world. That part of it worked out for Respawn in the end anyways. Don't expect to see a Titanfall anytime soon, guys. I just don't see it happening. Very unfortunate. Super franchise. Alright guys, number 9 on the list, I'm going to go with Dead Space. Now I know this has a little RPG elements to it, but to me it was more like a shooter in the same vein as like a Doom or something. You had a bunch of weaponry or tools at your disposal, but to me it was a horror shooter. And that's why it's on my list. Now, I remember when this first one came out, and it was around 2008. The ambiance of this game, you could tell the studio really put a lot of thought into this. There was a lot of jump scares. It was very dark. It was very scary. You kind of felt like when you were in your suit and, you know, you had your lights and your weapon with blue aiming reticle and everything, that you were very isolated and it was scary, and your suit was kind of like your only safe haven. It was really hard to explain if you didn't play the games, but the mechanics were good, and as many jump scares and creepy atmosphere as there was, some of the weapons were just awesome. How you could take the enemies out. I remember one I really liked. It was a weapon that kind of shot the circular saw discs. You could dismember the enemies to save your ammo. You know, you could take a leg off one and then go over and, you know, kill it with like a melee type attack. I can't remember if it was like a stomp or what, but just things like that. Now, the main character, Isaac, pretty much like a maintenance guy in space. He gets trapped up in the ship from what I can recollect in the first one, and then he defeats them kind of. He goes a little crazy in two, and yeah, it's just an awesome game. Really don't recall as much from the third one. It's really a franchise I need to go back and play. They're not super long campaigns or anything, so you can get through them in a reasonable fashion. It's not like a huge RPG type game or something, you know. You don't need to invest a ton of time in it. If you have time, I would really suggest playing these games. They are really interesting. For the time, they looked visually stunning, in my opinion. They looked really great, guys. So number 8 for me, guys, has to be the Left 4 Dead series. As you know, with Valve, they're very hit or miss. They'll make projects and then they'll cancel them, and it's honestly a little bit ridiculous with the resources they have. Now, I know he's busy running Steam and all this crap, but still, like, no new Half-Life, no new Left 4 Dead. Kind of crazy. However, in 2008, I remember when Left 4 Dead came out. I played this a lot with my brother. We had a ton of fun playing it. I played it with friends online. The atmosphere was good. It didn't take itself too seriously. I really liked how they structured the game, where you would load up on the certain things you wanted to take in with you. You'd go do the map. You'd get through the map, get to a safe room, and then if you wanted to try a different weapon or, you know, something like that, you could do that and then go on to the next mission. It was really fun. It was just a great experience playing co-op with friends or playing online with friends. And that's what I think newer games today are missing, is that friendship and camaraderie of playing not just online multiplayer, but playing cooperative type games together. And that they really need to make more of these again. I think the newer generation has definitely missed out on a lot of these games, and I hope they're going back and playing them, because I'm sure they would have a great appreciation for them. But back to Left 4 Dead, just an awesome franchise. Made two, and then they were going to make a third one, and then Valve canceled it. And then Back 4 Blood came out, which is kind of a spiritual successor to these games. If you like these games, you'll like that. I played a little bit of that when it came out. It was fun. It was the same sort of thing as the old ones. To me, it didn't quite capture the essence of the old games, though I still find them better than Back 4 Blood. But that is why it's number 8 on my list, Left 4 Dead. So back in the olden days, around 2002, this franchise made an appearance, and it's been a staple ever since in the first-person shooter category. And it is the Battlefield franchise. And I'm going to put this at number 7 on my list, guys. I'm going to admit I'm not a huge Battlefield fan, but I do appreciate it, and I have played a ton of them, played a lot of it. Now, this came out quite a while ago. There's been tons of games. I really didn't get my chops into Battlefield until Bad Company came out. And you know, for me, the Bad Company games were really fun. That level of sarcastic humor into it, and they didn't take themselves too seriously with it. I found the multiplayer really good in it as well. I really don't know why they didn't keep this going as a subsect of the main games. But I guess they only have so much development time and money to develop these games, and they really do need to refocus, in my opinion. DICE kind of lost their way with the Battlefield franchise, and visually stunning as always, but I think they need to mix it up, and I don't really know how. To me, after playing the Bad Company games, and Battlefield 3 was really good, and Battlefield 4 was honestly probably my favorite game in the franchise. If not, it's in the top 2 or 3. Like, just, it looked awesome for the time. It played really well, and it was just an all-around great game. It's really surprising that after Battlefield 4, Hardline came out, and I don't know what they were thinking with Hardline. It was just not that great of a game. It seemed very hollow compared to the previous one. I don't think it sold very well, and it kind of got panned by critics as well. Battlefield 1 came out. I kind of got back into the series. I like the old World War II stuff, so I figured the World War I would be a bit more toned down in that. The gameplay was great. It was fun playing some of these old weapons again. Now, I know DICE takes liberties with historical accuracies of these weapons and that, but you have to. Like, you got to figure, like, World War I was basically bolt-action rifles and mounted machine guns, you know? Like, that was basically what it was. So I know they had to add in a bunch of different stuff to make it fresh and, you know, have some neat unlocks and stuff. So totally cool with that. I didn't play Battlefield 5. It just didn't seem that appealing to me. I didn't play 2042 either. Don't talk about Battlefield 2042 because when this came out, the game was absolutely broken. It looked like shit, guys. I had no interest in playing it or paying for it for that matter. And that's the thing now with the price of games, you got to really be careful with your friggin' gaming dollars because it doesn't go far unless you have a Game Pass or you wait for Steam sales or something. It's just too damn expensive. And like, no one's paying $70 for 2042. The state it was in when it launched, it looked terrible. And I have a feeling it never fully got rectified. It kind of just came out and it was like, it was done. I'm not too sure what the next iteration of Battlefield will be, whether they'll go back to World War II or they'll keep it modern. I can't see them going back to the futuristic, even if it's near future stuff. They need to go back to their bread and butter, guys. Either make it modern or just make it like World War II or something. Get back to the roots. What the future holds, and I'll keep you posted on that when I see it come out, guys. We're going to get to number 6 on the list, guys. Way back in the old days, a little title came out and it was called Medal of Honor. Now this game was awesome and this franchise lasted a super long time. I'm not too sure if they're still doing anything. I think there was some sort of release that came out in 2020 from Respawn, but I don't think it was like a mainstream full game or anything like that. But we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the old games. So back in 1999 on the PlayStation, Medal of Honor came out. I was lucky to get to play it with my brother, and we had a heck of a time playing it. Even playing split-screen multiplayer and stuff on the big screen TV and that. Just a really good time. And when I started playing that on his console, I was kind of hooked. So when I got my Xbox and stuff, these were some of the go-to games for that system. They released quite a games on the Xbox. You know, they had Frontline, Allied Assault, Rising Sun, Pacific Assault, European Assault. And then when the 360 came out, Airborne came out on the 360. And this is where I'm going to say the interest on this franchise started waning. I know it did for me too. Airborne came out, I played it. I was not impressed with it that much. I think they had lost their focus at this point. And I'm sure, you know, when this many games in a franchise comes out and you have this much studio turnover and stuff, this is going to happen to these. And the elephant in the room for me is when Medal of Honor rebooted in 2010. This is where they got Danger Close Games involved and DICE. And I don't know why they did this. I think they were trying to compete with Call of Duty and take it modern. The problem with it was, and this is my opinion, and I did play this game quite a bit, it wasn't horrible, but it was a DICE game. And you know, anyone that plays Battlefield, DICE controls in games have a certain feel all to their own. No other game feels like a DICE first-person shooter to me, in my opinion. And if you played this game, you'd be like, yeah, this is a Battlefield game. It's just toned down with smaller maps, and it's more... they're trying to make it like Call of Duty, but with just a bit bigger maps is kind of how I would explain it. I thought it was just okay. It wasn't great. Didn't have that draw from either franchise. And then they brought out Warfighter a few years later, and again, and Danger Close did the lion's share of this game. I just did not find the games that great, guys, and it's very unfortunate. This was an awesome franchise. And I'll always have the great memories of playing the older ones with my brother, and you know, the ones on the Xbox, we played so much of that. The co-op and the split-screen multiplayer, countless hours of fun in this game, guys. If you have a chance even to pop it in to play the campaign, I would do the campaigns on these in a heartbeat. They were great. All right, guys, we're at our top 5 here. And number 5 coming in for me is one of the granddaddies of the first-person shooters, and it's got to be Doom. The franchise has stood the test of time. You know, this came out way back in 1993. I remember playing it on my shitty old computer. I can't remember if it was like a 286 or 386 or 486. Any old fellers will remember those days. And they've been continually re-releasing this game on newer systems, and I'm sure you can get it on emulator too. It really was a funny-ass game. It definitely didn't take it seriously. Like, the main character, the Duke Nukem guy, just, yeah, blowing these critters away and stuff and getting the BFG and blast and everything and being able to carry all the weapons at once. Super fun game, guys. I mean, yeah, it looks dated now and really kitschy, but I really like it, and it was super fun. And I believe Doom the Dark Ages just released like a month or two ago, so that's a game I'm going to check out. I'm going to see if it's on Game Pass because I won't pay for it. However, the Doom games are very visually appealing. They put a ton into the effects, guys. They're one of the best looking shooter games out there, in my opinion, now. ID Software just keeps making good games. They've been making them for years. Just a wonderful studio, and they really put their heart and soul into these Doom games. I don't think they're too unforgiving, even the newer ones. I haven't had a chance to play the last two iterations. Definitely on my list of games to play. I don't think I'll be putting any walkthroughs or playthroughs on the channel because I don't think that would be too interesting for the people that watch my channel, guys. But again, if you have a chance to play some Doom games, fire them up. They are awesome. Alright, guys, we're getting down to the heavy hitters on my list. In at number 4, I gotta go with the Gears of War franchise. I still love this franchise. I've played all the games, I've played them all tons of times. They're super fun. So back in 2006, when I was playing on the Xbox 360 all the time, remember the trailer for this game coming out? It had just an introduction to Marcus Phoenix, and he's running and doing his thing, and then he falls, and then these critters' eyes are all glowing in that. They're playing that Mad World song by Gary Jules, which is a remake from an old 80s song, but it is what it is. But anyways, the setup for this game was awesome. They really built the hype for it, and when this game came out, it was like, oh my god, this is freaking awesome. I played the campaign a ton. We're playing co-op with friends. The multiplayer I had fun with. I was not very good at it. I will admit that. I was never good at pop and shoot shooters on multiplayer. I just wasn't. I don't know why. I did enjoy the time I did play the multiplayer. But all of these games, Gears 1, 2, and 3 were all really good, guys. And even 4 and 5 were solid iterations. The first 3 were the best ones, in my opinion. Kind of peaked at Gears 3, probably, I'm going to say. Visuals were great for the time. The writing was hilarious. Everyone knows Coltrane, baby. Whoa! The character development was great. The storytelling was great. The pacing was great on these games. There's really nothing bad to say about them. There's no more satisfaction in a shooter than chainsawing one of those friggin' bad guys. It's a game anyone can pick up and play and have a really good time with friends with, guys. Check out the Gears franchise. Alright, guys, we're going to slide into number 3 here. At number 3, I gotta go with the Halo franchise. Now, there's a few reasons for this, but we're going to dive right into it. So back in the old days in 2001 in the original Xbox, Combat Evolved dropped, and I was hooked from the time I played that. Played pretty much every Halo game since then. I've enjoyed them all immensely. The multiplayer never really deviates too much. The campaigns and all these are pretty good. The worlds are pretty fleshed out, Some are better than others. Reach wasn't the greatest. The first 3 were probably the best. The first 3 were the best in my opinion, and then peaking at Halo 3. The multiplayer in that is the best in the franchise. Don't at me on this one. I don't care what your comments are. It is the best one, guys. And then the franchise kind of just kept petering on a plateau since then. I haven't played the newest one, Halo Infinite. I'm sure it's the same sort of thing. Maybe I'll check it out on Game Pass if it's on there. I'll probably just do the campaign. I'm not really interested in the multiplayer anymore. But yeah, just running around with the warthogs, running people over, getting them with the energy sword, hitting those long snipes across the map. What a wonderful game and what a wonderful time. Halo 3 is some of the best multiplayer fun I've ever had in a game. Playing with your crew, just doing dumb stuff. It was a heck of a time. Yeah, the campaign, the story was so awesome. I remember fighting the Flood, and that was probably the funnest I had. I think that was Halo 2. I don't fully recall if it was 2 or 3. But seeing all those little friggin' basically heads on little tentacles running around and stuff, really cool. They need to bring that sort of stuff back in gaming where it actually kind of scares the shit out of you. I know it's hard for these studios to get the storytelling down like they did in the olden days of gaming, as I would say, but they really need to get back to this. I know the money is in the multiplayer and microtransactions now. Kind of a shame, but yeah, bring back these old campaigns that kicked ass, guys. You'll get way more consumers. And that's why I got to put Halo at number 3, guys. Just an awesome franchise. On to number 2, guys, and this is the nitty-gritty. Now, this may shock some of you, but my number 2 pick for the shooter category is gotta be the Ghost Recon franchise. So to me, the Ghost Recon franchise is what I would call the exact opposite to Medal of Honor and Call of Duty and a lot of these arcadey type shooters. It was very grounded, methodical, unforgiving, I would call it. Even had like a time to get a grenade arm and throw it. Everything was slow. Like to reload your weapon took quite a while. It wasn't like this fast action, crazy go, go, go thing. And yeah, the multiplayer, guys, very difficult playing it. And I can remember playing quite a bit of this in multiplayer. I think it was Advanced Warfighter I played. I think it was the Advanced Warfighters that I played the multiplayer. I remember playing the first Ghost Recon, Island Thunder, Ghost Recon 2, and then when Advanced Warfighter came out, it was awesome. Like, it looked really good. I really liked the direction of the series that Ubisoft had taken it in. When Future Soldier came out, it was a really good game. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. The last 2 iterations, Wildlands and Breakpoint, I have not played into that many shooters back then. And you only have so much time to play games, guys. You know, so there's so many games I'd like to go back and play, especially these shooter campaigns. You could definitely probably go through and, you know, they're probably 6-hour type games. They're not too long. So if you had some spare time, you could play like, you know, an hour here, hour there and bang them out. This franchise really did just scratch an itch for me on every level. Like, I like the modern combat of it. I like the one where you're going through the jungle. I really like the suburban and urban warfare of the newer ones and that. It's just a franchise I've always loved. And it's probably going to be surprising to a lot of people that I did put it number 2 on my list. That is number 2 on my list, Ghost Recon. All right, guys, without further ado, we are at number 1 on the list. Now, I have a feeling I'm probably going to get shit on for my number 1 pick, and maybe some of my other ones too. You know how people are on the internet. My number 1 pick for the best shooter franchise of all time has to be Call of Duty. Now, for me, Call of Duty is a mix of really good stuff and really shitty stuff, and we're going to sprinkle in some mediocre stuff on top of that. So, back in the old days, us OGs started back in 2003 on the original Call of Duty game. But it wasn't until Call of Duty 2 that the multiplayer got rolling on this. Just a little retrospect on the multiplayer. Number 2 was really good. It was bare bones. It was a great debate when 2 and 3 were both out at the same time. Which one was better? Most people would say Call of Duty 2 was better. I didn't mind either one. I thought Call of Duty 3 was good. You had some tanks and vehicle play and stuff. That kind of mixed it up a little bit. Really, modern Call of Duty started with the release of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Now, this dropped in 2007, and I can vividly remember to this day dropping this disc in, playing the campaign, and being like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. But it wasn't till my noobish ass fired up the multiplayer and I was hooked. I could not believe the jump from Call of Duty 3 to this game. It was amazing, you know. You had your 3 perk slots. It was amazing. The gunplay was so tight and perfect, and take some grenades or claymore mines, and they had the kill streaks, so if you were pooping on kids, you could run up your score, and just... it was an unbelievable time in gaming, and honestly, this is what really started online shooters for me. And I was perfectly honest, Call of Duty and Call of Duty 3, they were unforgiving. The guns had a ton of recoil and a ton of visual recoil. The sniping was super difficult. If you didn't play these all the time, you would get shit on, guys. Like, they were not easy games to play. You know, there was no perks or none of this sort of stuff. So when Call of Duty 4 came out and pretty much changed everything up, yeah, this was it for me. I was hooked on Call of Duty. I loved it. And then when World at War came out, this is where I started meeting a lot of online friends and friends that I still talk to this day, and we still play games together. We had our own little website that was a forum for Call of Duty. We were all on the Call of Duty forum as well. We met there and online, and we played with each other, and it was such a good time. And Call of Duty World at War is top 2 Call of Duty for me. I know a lot of the people hated having tanks in the bigger maps, but having the tanks and playing war was some of the best game experiences I've ever had. The war game mode is awesome. I wish they would implement this back into the game properly in the new ones. I don't know why they can't. I don't understand it. When Modern Warfare 2 came out, it was really good, much like Modern Warfare, but a lot of the stuff was overpowered. You had one-man army noob tubes, and there was some javelin glitches, and yeah, like the explosions and stuff were a little ridiculous. But again, the gunplay was excellent. I went on a 915 win streak playing Team Deathmatch with friends. We were pretty good back in the day. Like, we weren't like MLG or anything, but we were just a good group of guys that always played together, and we had a good time. My friend Steve and I still play with him. I think he was in the 600s. Just a fun time to play, guys. And then when Black Ops came out, you know, that's my favorite Call of Duty of all time. The ridiculousness of Modern Warfare 2 was toned down, had the same sort of formula and everything, but it was just better for gunplay for me. That's just my opinion. Call of Duty peaked at the first Black Ops, and I don't care what anyone says about Black Ops 2 and all these other games that came after it. The original Black Ops was the last true, you know, to me, the original Black Ops was the last true Call of Duty game that didn't have a bunch of dumb shit in it. And that's just my opinion. Now, I'm not going to go through all the newer Call of Duties because there has been a shitload of them. I did not like the jetpack Call of Duty era. You know, you had Advanced Warfare, you had Black Ops 3, and an Infinite Warfare, and honestly, those games are dog shit, and anyone that says otherwise, I don't understand how you could like these games. I tried to rip off the Titanfall mechanics, but they just didn't pull it off. It did not work. Nothing about them. I couldn't stand them, guys, and it really knocked me out of playing Call of Duty for quite a while. And I kind of got back into it playing some Vanguard. It was sort of toned down a little bit. Gunplay was good. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't mind it. And then the two Modern Warfare releases were what I'm going to say. They were okay. 3 Black Ops games for me. I really just did not like them. Cold War, and then Black Ops 6, and then Black Ops 7, which will be coming out this year. A few Black Ops games that have come out, I don't know, there's just something about them that I didn't really like. I found them really shitty and dated looking. That's my own personal opinion. We'll just jump in here. The zombies modes in the older games were really good, guys. They've switched it up a little bit. They've gotten away from some of the round-based stuff and that. I haven't really gotten time to play the last few. But I love me a good zombies game. It's good mindless fun with friends. You can horse around. If you want to level up your weapons and stuff, you can do that too. The elephant in the room is obviously Blackout and Warzone. Now, I remember when Blackout came out, I really did have a good time playing this for a good couple months. To me, I found it a little too tedious picking up weapon attachments and having to do the healing thing, like with the bandages and stuff. Not my cup of tea. I'm not really into the BR styles that way. For me, Warzone, when it came out, yeah, perfect. You just run over the stuff and it goes in your inventory. You just carry the armor plates, and there's no level 3 armor and level 1 armor and all this bullshit. It's just you have armor plates and that. So to me, Warzone came out at the perfect time. It was during COVID. Casuals could play it. Really good time. I still like Warzone. It's a little too sweaty. I'm glad they put the casual mode back in. It's super fun. Plunder's okay for leveling up your weapons and that. And I did enjoy the DMZ mode as well as the zombie mode that they put in as well. So I'm hoping they bring some of those back to mix it up in the next few iterations. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath. To me, yeah, no doubt about it. Call of Duty's got to be the best shooter franchise. They have their ups and downs like them all, but just the total package, got to be Call of Duty. And on that note, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have any disagreements with my list, I'm sure you will. You can let me know in the comments down below. As always, please like and subscribe if you're liking the content. I do like talking to you guys. It's going to be an awesome summer, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.